and welcome back to Living Creative with Pixie Princess. This is Jadelle, and I just have a question for you. Do you want to learn how to knit? Well, what tools do you want to use? The knitting needles or the loom? Stay tuned and we'll discuss that. So glad you stayed tuned. So let's talk about tools. You know, you can knit some beautiful projects using knitting needles, using a loom. There are also machines, like a circular knitting machine. There are the old-fashioned knitting machines, and those will get you to a project faster. I've heard somebody say using a knitting loom is cheating. I've never understood how it's cheating. You're getting the same project done. Anything that you can knit with needles, you can knit with a loom. And let me just show you something here. I'm not very good with the needles. I'm learning. I want to get more proficient because it's just a relaxing thing to do for me. This is a scarf that I made using, it's more of a cowl because it's not very long. It just kind of fits around your head like this, and it would keep your neck warm, and it serves the purpose, of a cowl. I made this with needles, and as you can see, it's a garter stitch, which is one of the first things you would learn when you start knitting. You can see lots of imperfections, and any first project you make on the loom or the needles, or if you're crocheting, you're going to have imperfections. And I got tired of knitting, so I bound it off and I joined it together. So this one I made using needles, and look at these stitches. This is the garter stitch. You see that? I also made this scarf, but I made it on a loom. It's a little skinnier, but it's the same stitch. I made it longer, and I put these little tassels on it, which has nothing to do with the needle or the loom. But as you can see, it's the same garter stitch that I used to make this one. And I'm kind of proud of this. It's one of my first projects, and it's not awful, but it does have a lot of mistakes. But it was my first knitting project using knitting needles. I have been using the loom a little while when I made this scarf. It's one of my first scarves on the loom, and I'm very proud of it. But as you can see, there's very little mistakes, if you can see any. The sides are very precise and smooth. And I'm very proud of this scarf too. But I got to the same kind of stitching using a loom. And it took time too. I'm not going to say this is faster. It's what you're more comfortable with. What do you enjoy doing? Let's just take, for instance, if you ran out of bread. So you need to run to the store. Okay? You can walk to the store. You're going to get to the store and get your bread. You can get to in your car and drive. You're going to get to the store and get your bread. And if you use one of the knitting machines, you can't do every stitch on the knitting machines. I don't have one. I would like to have one. But you can knit up quick projects with a simple knit stitch, and you're going to get a knitted project. That might be, an airplane or something, I don't know. But yeah, whatever tool you use, whatever vehicle you use, you can walk. It's a way to a means. These are tools on how you get to a certain destination, which is a knitted project. And there are all kinds of looms. I bought these knitting needles on Amazon. I understand after I bought these, I should have, for a first time knitter, gotten bamboo or plastic. These are aluminum, but this is what I have, so I will use these. And they also have a cable on them. But there are different types of knitting needles. I am not an expert on this at all. I'm not an expert on the looms either, but I'm better at that than I am with the knitting needle. But there are other YouTubers out there that can show you the ropes on these. And there are YouTubers out there that can show you the ropes with these, and probably better than me, but I'm here to show you my experience. So there are different kind of looms. I bought this one at a thrift store. I believe this was a Nifty Knitter, and I don't think this company is in business anymore. These pegs remove, which I'm not a big fan of, but I know people love these looms. But this is the only size it came. Like I said, I bought this at the thrift store. This was the only size that was there, but they did have a whole set. I bought these looms with have the smaller looms as well. Excuse me. I requested these, and I think I got these for my birthday one year, but I believe they came from Amazon. They're very sturdy. The pegs do not come loose. I've had these for several years. I've made my first projects on them, and I love them. I'm not sure the name of it, but I can put the link below of what this was. I can even put the link below to where I got them on Amazon if you would like. I'm not sponsored by any means by them. So if you order on your own in ordering, I could just show you where I purchased them. I got another set because I wanted another set. These are the smaller looms. These sizes came with this too, and these sizes came with this. These came from Michael's. They're a little lighter weight, but they are great. They work very well. I can make the same projects with both looms. Very inexpensive. But yeah, you can get these at Michael's. It's a Loops and Thread brand. I love these looms. They're very great. I love them very much. They're very lightweight. So to me, they're a little easier to carry around because they're not heavy. And when you have a project on it, it gets heavier as you knit. So these are perfect. I love them. This is what you would call a spool loom. It's like if you were making a teddy bear or something, you wanted to make arms and legs, or you wanted to make an I-cord, you can knit on this. It's a smaller project, or a little flower or something. So it has two ends that you can knit on. These are flexi looms, and these are great. You can use them to create whatever size. I've not used these very much, but you link them together. They come apart, and you can link them together. There's more bendable ones. There's some that stay straight, but you can make them any size. You can buy multiple boxes and make it a big project. You can make a blanket, with these, because you can make the project. These are a chunky, and they also come in the skinny. And the label's still on here. These came from Hobby Lobby, but I think I ordered multiple boxes on Amazon after I bought the boxes at Hobby Lobby just to see if I liked it. I just got one box. There are different yarn weights that you would use. This is a sock loom, which I have yet to use, but I plan on making some baby socks and maybe some adult socks. But yeah, this is just for the hillsides, I believe. They do make sock yarn, or it would be like a sport weight or a specific sock yarn that you would use on this loom to make socks. So we have these round looms. We have the long loom. You make a project, you can make a scarf where you're crisscrossing and it's double-sided. And those are very beautiful stitches. I believe I bought this one at Hobby Lobby. You can buy sets on Amazon. Hobby Lobby, Joann's, Michael's, they all sell these looms. This is what you call an S loom. And it's to make an Afghan. And it's a little compact. So you start on one end and you just go all the way around, and then you come back around. So instead of having it like extra long, it's a little compact. I started a project. I have not made anything on this yet that I would be proud of, or what we say, but This is a small gauge, and they do make larger gauge S looms. And by gauge, I mean it's the distance between the pegs. As you can see on these pegs, the distance between each peg is wider. As you see on this one, the distance is smaller. So that's what, like the skinny looms and the chunky looms. The sock looms is even smaller. Very, very tiny. Because you want to tighten it on a sock. In addition to looms, you need a tool. And the tool, the way you use a knitting loom is you wrap the yarn and you have like 2 loops. You knit it over, or you can do a purl stitch. So you need something to pick your yarn up. And a pick like this usually comes with most of your sets. So if you buy a loom at the store, you will pretty much guarantee that you will get a loom pick. I did not get a pick with the flexi looms, but all the other ones except for the ones I bought at the thrift store, a pick came with it, and these are fine. This one's a little better than most, but they can get hard to hold. I purchased this one separate. I think I got this at Joann's, but it has a nice grip on it, and it's more comfortable to use, so I can knit a lot longer using a more comfortable loom. So you will need a loom pick or something, but you don't have to use one that's made for this. You can buy, there's certain tools at a hardware store you could get that has a little hook on it that you can use to, pick the yarn. You could use a dental pick. Just whatever is comfortable in your hand that you can work your project on. And I am not going to teach you anything on the needles at this point, maybe a long way down the road. I still have a lot of practicing to do so that I can get good at it and good enough to show somebody else how to do it. But there are other YouTubers out there that can show you how to knit with knitting needles. There are YouTubers that can show you how to knit with looms. And I will be honest, they're probably a lot better than me. They've been doing it a lot longer and very proficient. I'm here to show you my experience. And to teach you the best I can. And I'm left-handed, so maybe, you can follow me. I just want to show you some projects that I've made. I showed you the scarves. This one I made with needles. Very good for my first project. This one I made on the loom. It's the same exact garter stitch, but I made it on the loom instead of the needles. This is probably one of the first hats I ever made. It's not bad. I gave it to my husband. He loves it. He bought this yarn for me, and he said, make me something with this yarn. And I made him a hat. It's not bad. It has a very thick brim, and it keeps his head warm. But this is one of my first ones. One of my first pom-poms as well. So, for a beginner, I don't think this was very bad. But you can make different stitches on the loom. I love this stitch. This is probably a child size, but or snug adult. But look at those stitches. Aren't those beautiful? That's made on a loom. Here's another one. It's a broken stitch. I think it's called a broken rib. I love those stitches. This is one of my favorites. I've actually sold some hats. I've had people say, oh, I want one. So I've sold a few hats in this stitch. I love it. It's a little slouchy. I love this stitch very much. I think that's the broken rib stitch. This was made on a loom. Here's another one of my favorites. It's a basket weave. The brim could have used a little help, but I love that stitch too. I think it's very beautiful. This is one of my favorites. And that has a tag on it because it's been to a craft fair. I love this. The color's beautiful. This is a spiral. Look at that beautiful stitch. I love that. And then I put this faux fur pom-pom. This one I bought at the store. but I'm going to try my best to make my own. I saw some faux fur material that I'm going to try to make a pom-pom. This is kind of heavy, so maybe the other one would be lightweight, but I love this spiral stitch. I think it is gorgeous. And you can make other projects. You can make handbags. You can make washcloths, dish scrubbies. Oh, I love making dish scrubbies using this small loom. If you ever go to craft fairs, those are big sellers at craft fairs. Another good one at craft fairs, and I'm going to show you how to make one of these next. Do you have like a bag of bags, you want to get organized? Well, this is a good way to organize it. It's a bag holder, and I made this one in the basket loom, and I may show you that stitch later. I'm going to make a little more basic knit stitch. I do like the garter stitch top and bottom, but this hangs up and you stuff your grocery bags in here and you pull one out when you need them. I know you can recycle your garbage bags, but we use them in our bathroom garbage. They're great for garbage bags in the bathroom. If you have a baby, you can put a few in your diaper bag, and when you change their diaper, you can put the diaper in there. When my girls were babies, I used cloth diapers. I didn't want to throw those away, so I put them in a bag. Those grocery bags were perfect to put the cloth diapers in. But even a disposable bag, you can put it in one of these bags and dispose of it in a proper place if you're not in a place where you can throw away a diaper. So it's a good reason to keep your bags, but you want to keep them organized, and this is a good way to do it. So if you will come back next Wednesday, I'm going to show you how to make a plastic bag holder. So what you're going to need for that is a 24 peg loom and your knitting tool, and of course your scissors and a darning needle. So if you have those ready, you'll be ready to work with me next week. Of course, you can watch the video and then get your supplies and tune back in to get it. But yeah, so tune back in. We're going to make a plastic bag holder. I hope to see you next Wednesday, and don't forget to come back Sunday for a new recipe. So until I see you again in the next video, I hope you have a wonderful, blessed evening. Bye.